Welcome in, everybody. Whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world, this is Coast to Coast, and it is a soggy start to us out in Seattle. How are you guys doing?
It's a beautiful sunny day out here. I think we're peaking at about 82 with a low of 75.
Nice.
So it's not too bad. Matter of fact, Bo, I'm thinking about hitting at the fire pit tonight.
I like it.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, we had about 83 yesterday, but today is going to be in the 60s and rainy. So,
well, I still take 60 and rainy versus 29 and snow.
Hey, today we got 75 and sun.
There you go. All right.
Where are you at? What's your temperature out there?
75 and sunny.
That's a good temp.
Yeah, 75 is nice.
The fact that you got sun in the state of Wisconsin is a miracle, because I can't tell you how many days that sky was blue but no sun, or gray and no sun.
Yeah, the 75 and sunny has followed up 21 hours of straight rainfall.
There we go. Yeah, that's basically what we had. We had, 3-4 days of beautiful weather, and it's going to rain for the next 4. So.
But that's expected in your part of the woods, though. You guys, I know you guys get way more rain than what we get.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's funny because our rainfall, we don't get like heavy rain. So it'll just be like drizzly.
Right.
Like we don't get rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be good fishing weather today. It would be that.
I do want to go fishing. I need to go fishing. I want to go deep sea fishing, though. Damn it! I don't want to just I want to go out on the boat and get out there, and do some real deep sea. I haven't done that in a long time. What's up, Miss Freebird? Leonard Skinner sends their best.
So, we might as well kick this thing off. You got OKC just absolutely smacking them down.
Yeah,
and
they did. Yeah,
it was ugly from the jump, right? Yeah. Timberwolves put up 9 points in the first quarter. Like, it was basically a wrap from there.
Yeah.
And what's funny is this post-game interview, because the attitude of it is just like,
They came ready to play. We didn't. When you lose a game like this, it's not really too much to break down. They just did what they're supposed to do and won the game.
Why don't you think you guys came ready to play?
I don't know. They dominated the game from the tip. And can't do nothing but tip my hat to those guys. They came ready, man. So good job by them. They came ready to play. We didn't.
I feel like they need a media person in the room to be like, hey, maybe you guys should go out there and not say dumb stuff. And he's done it before, numerous times. So, it's not like it's something new for him to say something ridiculous. But that's not the message you want. We just didn't come with it in a closeout game. Just, I don't know. I never want to hear that kind of attitude out of, especially your star, right? He's supposed to be your guy, your leader, all of that. If you're just nonchalant about losing a closeout game, and I get what he's saying, right? Like, there's not a lot to break down. We just didn't have it. But at the same time, like, that's not what you want to hear in a press conference.
No.
That just sounds to me like a guy that he's just straight up defeated and he just gave you a defeated answer, or he's a guy that just has no fight in him.
It's neither one of those. He's never been good with the media. No. Like whenever you hear just even like in-game interviews with Anthony Edwards or like just post-game interviews with him on the court, he's never been good with the media. He's very nonchalant. Seems like he's very unprepared. Anytime he sees like any media type things that he knows is going to be questioned about, it seems like he's always very non-prepared.
Well, and that's actually my point.
Yeah,
they need to have a media person that is training this guy up, because if he's the face of your franchise, if he's your guy, he's going to spend a lot of time in front of cameras.
Like, if you want to interview somebody,
you got to get your guy ready to go.
Like, if you want to interview somebody from that team that has been very good with the media, it's Mike Conley. Mike Conley Jr. would be the one that you want to interview after a loss like that. He's a 38-year-old veteran that's been in the league for 16 years. He's gone through these types of losses before. He's been in these situations before. Like, that's the guy you want to interview after a game like this, not a guy who, yes, he's the face of your franchise, but he's never been the face of your franchise when it comes to media.
Yeah, but the problem is nobody's trying to talk to the guy that isn't the face of the franchise.
That's why you
They
put him
want to
together.
talk to the guy that's leading the group that came up short. Like, that's who the media is going to go talk to. It's the same reason people go and talk to quarterbacks. They don't talk to a second string, wide receiver, even though he's great in front of the media. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares, right? Like, they want to talk to the guys that are leading the charge, and, he's that guy for their team. So they need somebody to help him be better in front of the camera. Like, will he ever be great? Yeah, who knows? Maybe not.
Right. Because you're right. Because it does send a message. It does. Because nobody wants to hear, like I said, if you're the Rockets, nobody wants to hear Jeff Green's explanation of why they didn't win. You want Jalen Green. You want to know what your main guy is thinking, because that's the heart of your team, right? Not Jeff Green, who's almost out of the league. No, we don't want to hear that.
Yeah, we understand that you've been sitting on the bench for 32 of the minutes tonight, but what do you think went wrong? No, that's not who they're talking to.
But it does make you wonder, though. And look, I understand. Maybe you don't have the right words to say. Maybe you don't know what the proper words to say to give the response that people want to hear.
Well, no,
but what I took away from that, though, what I took away from it was a guy who just, he looked like he didn't want to be there. Like, he just the tone of the voice, the way he was breathing, it was like, go fuck yourself. I don't care about this. At least have some enthusiasm. Show some emotion. And like, he had no emotion.
I mean, in his defense, though, too, it's right after they lost Game 5. It's right after they got blown out in Game 5. Their season is over. Like, does anyone really want to be there for that press conference? Probably not right after the game is over. Probably not right after you just got your butt swiped across the floor. Like, nobody really wants to be there for that press conference.
It's great you don't want to be there, but you're obligated to be there. So
no, I know you're obligated to be there. You're obligated to be there.
That's like saying nobody wants to go to work on Monday after Super Bowl, but you know what you get to do? You got to go to work.
Go to work.
I know, but you see that in all sports. So whether it's the Super Bowl, whether it's like the baseball playoffs, the hockey playoffs, like the first press conference when that team gets eliminated, nobody really has any emotion on that in that press conference. It's a very kind of
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you can't come in and just be like, meh, like that. That's not what really you want. That's not what you want to see out of the face of your franchise.
Yeah.
Because
think about it. If I'm the fan of the Minnesota Timberwolves and I just watched this game and I just saw, like you said, Bo, they only put up 9 points in the first quarter. I don't want to see this bullshit that Anthony Edwards just put out there. I want answers, damn it. I want to know why. Why did I get the product that I just saw? Because you know what? At the end of the day, when I go on a podcast or if I talk to my buddies at the water cooler, that may not be Minnesota fans, and they're going to want to know the answer. I don't want to just sit here and say, well, this is what I was given. I was given, we weren't ready. No, damn it. I want to know the answers because I'm your fan. I'm the one that's spending money for this product that you just put out on the court. Tell me what I'm missing.
The thing is it's not even like you're looking for in-depth analysis from it.
Yeah.
Right.
Just something.
But how are you not putting shots up? Like, explain what that is, right? Because that's where it's like you guys look like you didn't have fight in you. Like, it's one thing if the buckets aren't falling, that's fine. Like, it happens, right? You have an off night. Everybody's went and shot baskets and just had a day where, like, you were building castles with the bricks you were throwing, right? They just, for whatever reason, they weren't dropping. You can accept that. You can be like, okay, yeah, you know what? We just had an off night shooting. We created some turnovers. We just, we weren't there. But when you're just like, yeah, I don't know, we just didn't come with it. And, when you look at it, he didn't put up a lot of shots. You're just like, well, I mean, the effort wasn't there. So it's not like it was, you guys just got outplayed and, the shot wasn't falling and you just, you couldn't quite get the stops on defense or whatever. It's just like, no, it looked like an effort issue. And then you come into a press conference and you're like, yeah, I don't know. We just weren't ready. It's a closeout game. Like, that's what you train your whole life for, is a closeout game, to be ready for that.
My question to you guys is, now we've seen Anthony Edwards, a few times now, some last year, a little bit this year, whatever.
Sure.
You saw his press conferences look like. You saw the way in which they lost. Do you think that Anthony Edwards is the guy, the franchise guy that can lead them to a championship at some point, given off of what he's done?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be the guy. All I'm saying is he needs somebody in that building to help him out. I'm not saying he's not the guy. He can't be the guy. He's not talented. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is he needs somebody that's good at that end of it to coach him up. It's no different than anything else, right? You need coaching in everything you do, everything you've ever learned in your life, teacher, coaching, whatever you want to call them. You knew zero. You couldn't use a spoon at one point in your life, right? So somebody has to come in and be like, hey, you know what? We got to make you better at this. That's all I'm saying. Like,
here's what I'm saying. The guy, this is not his first bad shooting night for Anthony Edwards. This is his second bad shooting night. The first one, he said, well, how can you say I'm struggling? I only got 13 shots. And then tonight he gets 18 shots, but he only gives you 19 points, 1 of 7 from the 3. I don't know. Is he really? I don't know. Because it seems like he's pulling James Harden right now.
No, he's just going up against the best defense in the NBA. Like
is that what it is?
Yeah, they shut down.
Oh yeah,
that's what Oklahoma City's known for. They take the best player. They take the best player out of the game every time. The one game that Minnesota beat Oklahoma City, what happened? Anthony Edwards went off. Because that was the one time that Oklahoma City could not close out on him when he was shooting, and he went off for like 40.
So basically what you're saying is if I put good defense on Anthony Edwards, I can take him out of the game. I can take Minnesota out of the game.
For the most part, yeah.
So it's not really the guy. It's not really the guy, right? Because Kobe went against a lot of good defenses.
If you play good defense on anybody, it takes them out of the game.
Yeah. Look at Kobe still had Shaq, though, and Kobe still had a lot of people where if you took him out of the game, he still had people capable of putting up 20, 30 points. Yeah. You take Anthony Edwards out of the game, Julius Randle's not going to be consistently giving you 30 points. Rudy Gobert is not a scorer that's going to get you 30 points, neither is Conley. Like, Minnesota needs another scoring option to put with Anthony Edwards, where if you take Edwards out of the game, Minnesota still has a chance to win those games. They just don't have another secondary scoring option besides Edwards right now. And that's ultimately why I'm actually surprised that they made it back to the Western Conference Finals, because last year, Karl Anthony Towns was their secondary scoring option, where if you took Edwards out of the game, Karl Anthony Towns could still get you 35 to 40 points. He could still keep you in the game a lot longer than if you took Edwards out of the game this year. That's why I was surprised that they made it back to the Western Conference Finals. And it makes you wonder if Karl Anthony Towns stayed there, would this series still be going on? Because, like I said, he was a guy that could take over a game if Edwards got taken out of a game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I hear you, but for the product I've seen from Minnesota, you can go last year when they did have Karl Anthony Towns. You can go this year when they got Gobert and they got Randall and DiVincenzo and whatever. I'm still seeing the same product, just different people. And I understand what you're saying. But I also see a guy whose field goal percentage, and you can say, well, it's great defense. Well, a lot of people have. I understand what you guys are saying. I'm not trying to disagree with your point. I just don't see enough in this guy, Anthony Edwards, that makes me think, yeah, this is the guy.
Well, he just doesn't have the guys that are going to score 20 to 30 when he is taken out of a game. Like, he doesn't have that backup that other teams do. So,
I mean, I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Think about it when there were a couple of guys hurt on Golden State and Steph was the guy. And then they played good defense on Steph. They didn't have anybody else that could go off. What happened to that team? They lost a lot.
Yeah.
So it's a similar thing. Like, he has guys, but he has to be Superman. But yeah, no, I mean, he can win, especially if they go and get him, so a little bit better help. But no, my whole thing is man, you gotta have somebody in there that's coaching him on this end of it.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a good basketball player, no question. So now you just got to get it so that if he's going to be the leader, if he's going to be the front man that's in front of the cameras, you got to do something to make him better at that. And again, will he ever be great at it? Yeah, probably not. But that doesn't matter. You just don't want him to give the appearance of, yeah, we just didn't care, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess time will tell with Anthony Edwards and I guess the Minnesota Timberwolves in terms of acquisitions and what they can bring in to help him.
Yeah, well,
So they're going to be through the draft because I don't think they have any top draft picks, so it's going to have to be probably through via free agency.
I mean, it's not like they got blown out in the play-in. Like, they're in the conference finals.
Yeah, but like you said, they don't have enough to compete. Apparently, they don't have enough to compete with when they do get to the conference finals. So what are we really talking about? If you can't get to the finals,
they didn't have enough to compete against the best defense in the league.
Yeah,
and against the.
I understand that. I understand what you're saying.
So that's not like, oh, they're terrible. Right?
No, we're not talking about them being terrible. We're what we are talking about is how do they get over that hump? Like you said, they're going against the best team in the league defensively. So who do they need to bring in to help them get past the best defensive team in the league, right?
Honestly, I don't think it would have mattered this year because counting the playoffs, Oklahoma City's only lost 5 games at home this year. And they have yet to lose a home game in the playoffs this year. So if Minnesota would have had home court advantage, it wouldn't have mattered if Anthony Edwards had 2 or 3 more guys. They still probably were going to lose this series in 7 games because Oklahoma City has home court.
And I guess that's what I'm saying. So watch this. Apparently, OKC is one of the youngest damn teams in the league.
Yeah.
And unless they just lose people to, career-ending injuries or whatever the case, unless injuries hit them or they can't afford the people to re-sign or whatever, which I don't see any of that happening. I mean, I think this is an formidable team for a very long period of time. So how long is Anthony Edwards going to sit behind the best defensive team before they're able to overcome that mountain?
Because eventually
that's how dynasties happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just are on the wrong team.
Because look at when the Bulls had their 2 3-peats.
I understand. You go talk to Carl and John Stockton, and they'll tell you all about it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, even the teams in the Eastern Conference that the Bulls had to go through, the teams in the Eastern Conference back then were going to beat 29 other teams in the league. But you ran into a Bulls team that no matter who you added to your team, no matter how many stars you had, you were not beating the Bulls during their dynasty run. There was just no way of getting around it because the Bulls had the best defense, they had the best offense, and they had the best head coach. You could have added 5 superstars to your team at that point. You still weren't going to beat them in the playoffs.
I mean, you look at the Spurs. They win 5 rings in 10 years. They basically won every other year. Yeah. But they were right in the mix every year. And, I mean, there was nothing flashy about that team. No. They were just better than you.
And then the same thing when the Lakers had their
They did have a really good coach.
Yeah. But the same thing when the Lakers got Phil Jackson and they teamed Shaq up with Kobe to get their 3-peat.
Yeah.
When you look at the teams that the Lakers went through. The Sacramento Kings had an amazing team back then with Mike Bibby, Vlade Divac, Chris Webber, and some of those teams. Minnesota Timberwolves had Kevin Garnett, Latrell Sprewell, and a lot of all-stars then, where any other year, those teams are probably going to the NBA Finals. Same thing with the Suns when they had Stoudemire, Nash, Sean Marion, and some of those guys. Any other year, those teams are going to the finals consistently. It's just the fact that the Lakers assembled the team that they assembled, so basically it was your championship was getting to the conference finals. Because you knew if you faced the Lakers in the conference finals, you weren't getting through them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that was, to your point, you had Malone, Stockton, you had, Peyton, Camp. You had formidable guys.
The two
just couldn't quite do it. And it's not like they were bad teams. They were fantastic teams.
Yeah, the 2 years that the Jazz lost to the Bulls, they had 2 of the 7 best records in NBA history. They had a 64-win season and a 63-win season. And yet they could not beat the Bulls because the Bulls had a 72-win season one of those years. And then the final year, it was basically it's Michael Jordan's final year. We're not letting him lose this championship in his final year. Because that was the only time the Jazz had home court was Michael Jordan's last year. But yet the Bulls still went into Utah's floor and beat him in Game 6 because Bulls were not going to let him lose.
That's got to be one of the best dynasties. That Bulls dynasty with Jordan, and that was tough. That was a tough team.
And the scary part is, he left basketball for 2 years to try baseball. And
Yeah,
then he
he did.
comes back, and the team looks like they never missed a beat. It makes you wonder if he never left those 2 years with the Bulls and won 8 straight. Because they
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. I think he would have. I
They
mean,
absolutely would have. Remember, Pippen was the main guy, and they got to the finals.
yeah, like it's just ridiculous putting that dynasty into perspective and looking at like the Lakers dynasty, the early 2000s, the Warriors dynasty that we just watched like not that long ago. And then you just look at that Bulls dynasty, and it's just like if Jordan went to left, they would have probably won 8 straight championships and maybe even more, depending on how much longer Jordan wanted to play. Like that dynasty was set up to be good.
I mean, let's be honest. When you got Batman and Robin, and then you got like high quality role players at every damn spot, and then you got a coach that knows how to win and develop.
Well, I mean, that's where he developed his platform.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
The thing is I don't think they probably wouldn't have won 8 straight, honestly, because had they gone through the 2 years that he was gone, had they won those, they might have still ended up with only 6 because Pippen's back was so messed up. Like he may have called it at that point. I mean, so I don't know if they would have ended up going 8 anyway.
Well, even at that though, if they would have won 6 in 6 years though, and just won 6 straight years without losing a championship, and then Pippen's like, okay, I'm done now just because my back hurts. But just put that into perspective, winning 6 championships in 6 straight years, knowing how hard it is to even win like 1 or 2 in a row, that just shows you how dialed in that team was.
Yeah, because what did the Celtics do? What was their?
They had like 6 and 8 years, but I think they did 2 in a row, lost, 1, 2 in a row, lost, and then 1, 2 in a row. So it's like they won 2.
I was going to say they absolutely dominated an entire decade.
Yeah.
I just thought it was kind of funny the way the Bulls did it. It's like you win 3 in a row, which we all know is hard to do. Then Jordan goes on a 2-year vacation and comes back to this. Yeah, now we're going to give you another 3 in a row. It was just so crazy the way it happened. You know, I mean.
And it wasn't like the Eastern Conference back then was low on talent. Like they had some talented teams.
Oh, no, they had talent. Yeah, I mean, Reggie Miller and the famous choker on the net. I mean, they had talent. You know, it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, well, and unfortunately for the Timberwolves, that's probably going to be the case with this OKC team. Is they're probably just not going to quite have enough. Obviously, this year they didn't, but I mean, even moving forward, you know, OKC is very young, play incredible defense, and play with amazing speed. That's where, you know, the finals is going to be, you know, fun to watch because you're going to have OKC, great defense, plays with a lot of speed. You have the Pacers realistically going to close it out against the Knicks today. And so they are also an incredibly fast team that uses their depth very well. That, although the ratings are probably going to be terrible, man, that talk about a fast moving finals.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be a track meet.
Oh yeah.
Every bit of a track meet. You know, you're right. Who is in better condition to last the longest, you know?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, especially if they can get it closed out against the Knicks in this game, because then OKC won't have a rest advantage. Mm-hmm. They'll have both cleared it out, you know, in gentlemen sweeps. So if this continues on, then you start leaning towards OKC because they'll have played fewer games, right? They'll have some rest time to get back recharged. But if they both wrap up at the same time, then it's like, okay, start the track meet. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, because OKC is the best defensive team in the league, I'm really curious to see how the Pacers respond to that. You know, going up against a team that can not only run with you, but can play better D than you do. And it doesn't hurt the fact that they got the league's MVP on their squad.
Yeah, I mean, OKC definitely has the, like, if you put the teams side by side, OKC has the edge there. But because they both play so fast, it's gonna be a fun watch, and it'll probably go 6 or 7.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to the argument that Jay was making too about just Anthony Edwards not being enough or whatever. Mm-hmm. Even if they add a secondary scorer for Minnesota, people forget to realize that the Oklahoma City Thunder still have 13 draft picks. The next 3 drafts where they can be like, oh, I'll trade 3 or 4 picks for this superstar. I'll trade 3 or 4 picks for this superstar. And at that point, it's not going to matter what you give Anthony Edwards or anybody else in the Western Conference. If Oklahoma City really wants to go out and get 2 more superstars, they can trade away 8 or 9 draft picks for 2 more superstars and still have 5 draft picks in the next 2 drafts.
Yeah. No, that's actually pretty wild. Because you're just like, oh man, they could build a team.
So I think they said this year
for a very long period of time. Not only build a team, but build a young team. They can go a long
time. That's what they were joking about.
Already young, so now you'd just be adding some key players.
Right.
Yeah, it would be crazy.
That's what they were joking about this morning, basically saying like if this would have failed and Oklahoma City wouldn't have done what they've done and they would have had to basically like blow everything up and reset everything, you could have had Gilgeous-Alexander as your star player. And then you could have used your 13 draft picks to basically build a brand new team from scratch. Pick the 13 guys that you want, all have them on super young deals and be like, this is what we're rolling with the next 5 years. These 13 guys we're taking.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane. When you think about the capabilities that they have and that they do it right, which I'm sure they will because they built this team so far right. If they continue to build it right and be smart about it, like you said, Stat Guy. I mean, they can be very, very this could go on for a while now, you know.
Absolutely.
Please, boy, I tell you what. But no, I think the key for me with the Pacers is going to come down to Nesmith. That guy, when he's on, he can hit that 3 very regularly, you know. So that's one of the things I want to see out of the Pacers. And like you said, go up against the toughest defense. How's that going to affect him? You know, I mean, it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting. To say the least.
Absolutely. All right. Swap it over to the NFL. OTAs kick off. One guy that's not there, Stephon Diggs. And
Stephon.
Man, so there's video that pops up of him rather than being at OTAs, hanging out on a yacht. But it's this next little piece right here that probably gets him a random drug test. Is this pink little pouch here?
Boats and hoes.
You know, so you got that. They talked to Vrabel about it.
And that we're aware of, and obviously we want to make great decisions on and off the field, and we're hoping that with our time here on the field today, and that when we don't have a script and we're on the call-up periods, that we're making great decisions. And so the message will be the same for all our players, that we're trying to make great decisions, and any conversations that I've had with Stephon will remain between him and I and the club.
Have you talked to him since the video?
I talk to our players every single day, the ones that are here and the ones that aren't.
Yo, Stephon, wasn't that pink pouch, man? You gotta tell me that.
Man,
let me know, Stephon. What were you doing?
That's going to be a random drug test. There's no doubt.
So in other words, he's basically been like, Stephon, you're an idiot, and now you're going to get random drug tested and possibly suspended. So congratulations.
Yeah, well, and the worst part is, I mean, and who knows? Maybe it's nothing, but it's OTAs. Why are you not with your new team?
Oh, no, that's not the way this rolls down. I am Stephon Diggs, and I'm a superstar, and I do what I want.
I do what I want. Yeah, no, I mean, man, like, you only get to play football so long.
Yeah.
You can party on yachts and do all the drugs you want as soon as it's done.
Yep.
I don't get why guys deliberately sabotage their own careers.
Well, it's not only that, though. Like, if you're going to do that, it is what it is. But at the same time, you have to know with how many times people have cell phones now and how much people use their cell phones now, that you're going to get on a video, you're going to get a picture snapped of you someplace in public. So if you do anything stupid, even if you don't think nobody's watching, there's a high likelihood that someone snapped a picture of you doing something stupid, and then they're going to send it to TMZ, they're going to upload it somewhere, and then you're screwed.
But you know what? It's not like what Stephon just did there is not done around the league. I mean, how much stupid crap have we watched athletes do over the decades. And we're sitting here scratching our head thinking like, how could you do something so stupid? And they do it all the time because these dudes think they're freaking invincible. Come on, they think they're invincible, man. I got money. I could buy my way out of anything. I'm good.
Yeah, well, see, but that's the thing is you got to be looking at it like, hey, this could mess with my money.
Of course it can mess with your money, but that's how they look at it.
Well, that's a problem. Like,
I mean, let's be honest. Do you think John Morant and all the craziness he's done, do you think he looks at anything any differently? No, of course not. Why would he?
Yeah. Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? It's probably something designer. It's probably something that shows up on a drug test. So
I'm
when he
sure it's going to show up on a drug test.
So yeah, no, I mean, like that's the thing, right? It's just like, man, like that was one of the things when you look back at guys like Josh Gordon or Ricky Williams. It's like, man, like if you could just figure your life out for a 10-year stretch, you can make all the money you ever want, and then you can do all the drugs you ever wanted because nobody actually cares. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I've never got why guys go out and deliberately hurt their ability to make the most amount of money possible in a sport that you don't survive in that long.
Yeah. Josh Gordon's the prime example that you just used because he was arguably one of the more talented wide receivers from a skill set, but obviously his decisions never let him reach that talent. And how you said like all he had to do was figure his life out for 10 years. All he had to do was figure his life out for his rookie contract. If he balls out those first 5 years, he's getting a 5 or 6 year massive extension where he's going to get that guaranteed money and everything. Then he can screw his life up because that guaranteed money is going to him anyways.
Yeah, no, but that is absolutely my point. Yeah. Is you just got to figure it out for 10 years. You get off your rookie deal, you get your first payday, maybe you get a lesser decent payday, and then you're done, right? Like your career's over. Unless you're a quarterback, 10 years is generally like, a great career. So yeah, it's, I don't know.
It makes me wonder though. I mean, what do we see? We saw him roll out a pouch that had some pink substance. He wasn't partaking, but the girls sure looked happy. I wonder what the chances would be that he just gave them the powder and didn't take the powder when I'm strip trading.
Yes, it was a bag of Himalayan salt.
Yeah, there you go. But
anything is possible.
Well, I'm wondering if maybe he was giving it to the girls to get them on the, not that he would need to get them on the boat. He's a star wide receiver. That should be enough. But I'm wondering if he was giving it to them to maybe make things easier if he wanted to do things with them.
Well, I mean, who knows? Like it, and it
like, I wonder if he actually consumed it is what I'm saying, I guess,
Well, that's what I'm saying is that part of it doesn't matter. It's the fact that the video gets out when everybody else is at OTAs and he's just messing around on a yacht and, unknown substance, whether he took it or not, doesn't matter. The video's there. So, obviously if he didn't take it, great, because he's not going to get suspended. But, at the same time, it's one of those where teams don't like negative perceptions, right? And so, like for Rob, yeah, he was a pothead. It doesn't enhance anything, but it was a controlled substance at the time that wasn't allowed. And so that would be the same as if you did it at any other job and you decided to wreck a forklift. You get a drug test, you have pot in your system, guess what? You're fired. Diggs is still a good enough player that they'll overlook stuff like that. But if he was down on the depth chart, they'd be like, yeah, see you later, dude. I mean, so
yeah,
it's one of those, hey, it doesn't matter if it is performance enhancing or not. If it's something they say you can't have, is a wrap, So I don't know. Pretty crazy. Obviously not something Vrabel looked super happy about.
I mean, I would be happy if my star wide receiver that we haven't had a star wide receiver since 2019, Edelman. I'm probably going to be a little pissed. I'm over here trying to build a damn program from the ground up, and my star wide receiver's out there doing some pink Himalayan salt on a boat. I'm probably not going to be too exactly happy about it.
Well, and again, who knows what it is? Could be nothing.
Maybe it's part of the Tom Brady diet. Maybe, do you think maybe something on the Tom Brady diet? People thought it was a controlled substance or something. Maybe it wasn't.
It was salmon eggs. They were fishing. Who knows?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe that's part of Tom Brady time. Maybe that's what it was, and we're just all making a big deal about it.
But
look, if Tom Brady can bobble a trophy and almost damn near put it in the bottom of the ocean, what's wrong with a little pink Himalayan salt on an OTA?
The trophy floats. It's hollow.
Thank you, mad scientist. I appreciate you.
Well,
apparently you've been close enough to the trophy to.
If the thing was solid, they wouldn't even be able to pick the thing up. It's this big.
I don't know. On TV, it looks this big. I don't know. Whatever. I'll take you.
All of a sudden, it's Thor's hammer. Like, what are we talking about? Here's the trophy. It's 45 pounds. Man,
there is some news that just dropped from NCAA though.
What do we got?
Yeah.
NCAA president is discussing expanding March Madness from 68 to either 72 or 76 teams for the 2026 tournament, with a high likelihood that it will be passed.
Why?
So what? They're going to have to start this in February if it.
I mean, it doesn't make sense. Why do you need 70? Why not just give it out to everybody? You're all in the tournament. Let's go.
Start it 2 weeks other.
No, because it's
let's go.
It's kind of what I ended up saying on one of the shows earlier this year that revolves around North Carolina last year. How North Carolina had no business being in the tournament field because of their performance that they had during the season. But because the North Carolina president was on the March Madness board, you knew that North Carolina was going to get in somehow, even though the guy's like, oh, we had no influence on North Carolina getting in the tournament. Well, that's a bunch of BS. The president.
I'm sure. Yeah, you want us to believe that.
So to avoid situations like that again, and there were a lot of teams that got left out that shouldn't have got left out last year when you look at their RPI, when you look at their strength of schedule, and a lot of things that you look at the eye test where this team should be in and this team shouldn't be in. It's getting to the point now where a lot of these teams getting left out are only getting left out because you have these stupid teams. It's been the rule forever, but you have these stupid teams that are going 16-20 on the season, but because they have 3 good games at the end of the year to win the conference tournament, they're stealing a bid from somebody else. That's ultimately why they're trying to expand the field, because it's happening too often now where you have a team that's played like, even last year, I think a team that one of the 16 teams was 11-25. But the only reason why they're in the NCAA tournament is because they got hot for 4 games at the end of the year, won the conference tournament, and stole a bid from somebody.
Yeah. I mean, I guess sticking with the NCAA, Division I, getting a new governing body, NCAA finding a way to become obsolete. Yep. So they're the new governing body is supposed to be the one in charge of suspensions and any kind of sanctions that come down. So the NCAA is having less and less control as this continues to move. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that comes together.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see how it comes together. I guess I think 76 or 72 teams is just entirely too much. But hey, all right, add it.
Not if you did it the right way, though.
Okay.
Because if you're gonna keep letting the conference tournament champions get in, a lot of the 15 and 16 seeds are gonna come from like those smaller conferences.
Okay.
Then you have like all the bubble teams and the teams that they always say are like the last 4 in, first 4 out, things like that. Why not take like the 8 teams that are on the bubble, like the last 8 teams on the bubble, and have those 8 teams do the play-in games, where if they win, then
that's what you want to do, is a play-in to get into the tournament. Okay, I see that.
Because right now you have 2 11 seed play-in games and you have 2 16 seed play-in games. Nobody cares about the 16 seed play-in games because they're going to get the crap kicked out of them in the 1 versus 16 matchup the next game anyways. So just
This argument makes me think that you like the losers bracket of fantasy football.
No, I don't. I'm just saying, I don't. They expanded the tournament before because they wanted to do these play-in games to give more teams an opportunity. Which it's fine if that's what you want to do, but if you're going to do it, don't do the play-in games for these 16 seeds, because the 16 seeds just going to get the crap kicked out of them when they play the 1 seed the next game anyways. If you want to do these play-in games, have it be the 8 bubble teams, like the last 4 in, the first 4 out. Have those 8 teams go against each other, and the 4 winners, give them the 4 11 seeds or give them like 12 seeds. Because even as a 12 seed, the teams that are going to win that game have a good likelihood that they can beat a 5 seed. There's a good likelihood that they could beat a 4 seed and make a deep run in the playoffs or in the tournament, and it makes the tournament that much more interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Every time playoffs get expanded further, it just waters it down to teams that really shouldn't be there. I mean, obviously, I thought that Division I football needed to be more than 4, just because that layout was ridiculous. But when you're looking at, March Madness, you don't need that many teams. Like, let's be honest. There's enough teams the way it sits, and you still have a Cinderella type story like every few years.
Yeah.
So I mean, and they still don't win. Like, it's a good story, and then they flame out in the Elite 8 or the Final 4. Like, I don't think you need to add a bunch more teams that are okay into the mix for somebody to just beat the crap out of.
And that's what I'm saying. I think where the field currently is, it's enough. You have enough vast array of teams, that whoever does win it, it's a legit win, right? You don't need X, Y, Z 8 play-in teams that you think that's going to fall or make a difference in who actually wins. I mean, unless it's a money thing. When these teams get into the tournament, is it a money? Did they get a certain amount of money to be seated in the March Madness?
Each school gets money for being in the tournament.
Yeah, but that's not the money they care about. They care about the TV money by having so many more games. That's right. The money they care about. So it has nothing to do with, the schools and giving them a chance and whatever. That's the NCAA saying, hey, you know what? If we add 15 more schools, 16 more schools, guess what? We got all these extra games we're going to get paid on. So, I mean, let's not pretend like this is let's give everybody a chance. It's like, no, they're
that really does make sense. The money aspect you're talking about, Bo, that really does make sense. And I'm not trying to discredit what you were saying about the play and then the right to be their stat guy, but the money side always rules. And I really believe what you're saying.
It's the only reason.
And here's a prime example of kind of why I would be on board for something like that if they said, like, you're going to take these 8 bubble teams and put them in the play-in. These were the last 4 teams that got into the NCAA tournament as they were listed as the last 4 in. You had North Carolina 22-14.
Mm-hmm.
Not a great record.
Sure.
You had San Diego State 21-9, 14-6 from the Mountain West. They came from a weak conference, so they built up a good record, but not a great team. You had Xavier 21-12. Again, not a great record, which is why they got seeded as an 11 seed. But then you had the Texas Longhorns at 19-15, 6-12 in the SEC, and they got an at-large bid. A 6-12 conference opponent and a 19-15 team has no business being in the NCAA tournament, especially as an at-large bid. If they're going to make it based on winning the conference tournament, it is what it is. And then the teams that got left out were like Indiana 20-12. Boise State was 24-10, 14-6 in conference. They tied for the regular season conference championship and lost to San Diego State in the conference tournament. And they got left out for a team that was 19-15. Like, that's why they want to kind of go to like a little bit more teams, because then you have these regular season conference champions that could be. We'll use Murray State for example when John Morant was there. Murray State was 29-1 or 30-1 during the regular season.
Sure.
But then they lost the first round of the conference tournament, and they did not make the NCAA tournament because of the conference they came from. They kind of want to be like, if you're a 30-0 team and all of a sudden you get upset in the conference tournament, it shouldn't matter what conference you come from. If you're 30-0 during the regular season, you did the body of work to make the dance. You just got upset one day on a weekend.
Well, I mean, you got to win.
Yeah, that would help.
I mean,
absolutely help.
Like, that's the thing. Like, if you lose your conference championship, I don't feel bad for you. Like, sorry you didn't make it. You should have won that game. I mean,
I really don't. I've been on this for the last couple of years. I don't even think a conference championship should determine an automatic berth to the tournament anyways. Like, I think it's like, Like, I think if you win the conference championship, it's like a credit to you. Like, your university won the conference championship. But I don't think that should determine an automatic berth in the NCAA tournament. I think everything, like the entire body of work, I think the regular season and the conference tournament together should determine who goes to the NCAA tournament. I don't think there should be automatic berths based on who wins the conference tournament. I think it should be the entire body of work from start to finish.
Yeah, I don't know. I like a conference champion to get in. You win to get in. It's a funny thing. You got to win enough to get into the conference championship, and then you win the conference championship. You should move into the playoffs, just like every other sport. Or were you a fan of the best records get in, so, do away with divisions in football?
I'm a fan of like the best records get in, but obviously if you win your division in football, if you win your division in the NBA, the MLB, and NHL.
And how's that different than a conference exactly?
Because the divisions in pro sports, you don't have like a conference championship until the actual playoffs. Like you win your
division champion. That's how you get in.
Yeah, but it's the entire body of work though. Like you don't take the 4 teams. You don't take, like in baseball, you don't take the teams from the AL West and the teams from the NL Central and put them in a weekend long tournament to be like whoever wins this weekend tournament is the division champion. The 162 game season doesn't matter. It's what you do these next 4 days to determine the division champion. Like professional sports, it's based on the entire body of work for the regular season. Yes, you have a division champion, but that's all based on the body of work that you did for the entire season. That's how I think college basketball should be. Like it should be the entire body of work that you do for the 4.5 to 5 months leading into that conference tournament weekend. It shouldn't be determined based on if you win these next 3 games, you get a bid just because you went 0-28 during the regular season. You're going to finish the year 4-28. You deserve a bid because you win these 4 games.
You are legitimately making the case for no division winners in football. Literally what you just laid out was do away with that because you can be a non-division winner with 12 wins and miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
And have somebody in the playoffs that's 7-9.
Yeah.
You can do it. Or, 8-9 now, I guess. But no, I mean, again, you're in divisions, you're in conferences. You got to win that. I just don't feel bad for you. Win that game.
Yeah. I'm still a fan of the division winners, but you still have like a conference champion, regular season conference champion. Like that should be ultimately who gets the automatic bid. Like whoever wins that regular season title should be the ones getting the automatic berth because they put in the body of work for the 4.5 to 5 months to become the regular season conference champion. It shouldn't be the one that wins that conference tournament that gets in. It should be the ones that win the regular season conference champion because they did the body of work to go through the entire 18-game conference schedule. They did the body of work for 32 games to get where they got to win the regular season conference championship.
I mean, you're talking about something that's one and done anyway. You just got to win.
Yeah.
That's simple. Like if you lose that one game next week, you're still out.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of divisions. I'd rather just have conference play, to be honest with you. But because like you said, if you're 7-9 in the division and you automatically get in because you won the division, and you got a team over here that has exponentially better above 500 record than you do, I just think it sucks that that they're punished because they're in a different division. So therefore, this weaker team gets in automatically. I hate that.
No. But they're not. They're not punished. Beat the other team in your division, and you get to go.
I mean, I get that. I understand what you're saying. No, trust me. I mean, I get what you're saying. I understand. I hate weak teams, and because you come from a weak division, automatically you get in.
Yeah, well, that 12-win team probably beat up on that weak division anyway.
I guess the argument that I make toward it is for like the smaller conferences because the smaller conferences aren't going to be as deep as like the SEC, the ACC, and like the Power 4 conferences.
Yeah, so obviously get smoked anyway.
I know, but I'm just saying like you have teams like Murray State, teams like Chattanooga, teams like I can't remember the one last year that was like a 8 seed that was like 32-4. Like they beat up on their conference during the regular season because their conference is terrible. But leading into conference play, they also built up a super strong non-conference schedule and won a lot of the games that people didn't think they would win to beef up their resume. But then all of a sudden the conference tournament happens. their best player gets hurt, they lose the game, and they miss out on the NCAA tournament bid because they lost that week. And it's just like,
yeah,
those
if your
are the
best
teams.
player got hurt, you're not going to do anything in the tournament anyway.
I know, but they still should get in there. Like those are the situations where the committee like overlooks the body of work.
You're like, I want hobbled teams to get in.
No, but it's not like the guy.
The American way, baby.
No, the guy wouldn't have been out. The guy wouldn't have been out for this, like for the tournament though. Like he sprained his ankle during the conference tournament. Like he would have been good to go for the NCAA tournament. Like those are the situations where the committee, I think, ignores the body of work that the team did, and they just focus on that 1 week, and they don't look at the 32 wins that they put up against one of the hardest non-conference schedules in the country. It's the fact that you come from a weak conference, you didn't win the conference tournament, so the body of work that you just did the last 4 months doesn't matter.
No, I get it. You want gold stars on everyone's charts. I got you. It's fine. It's fine. That, like I'll never agree with that.
Can I get a gold star? I want a gold star.
Definitely
Can
not.
can I get a gold star? Shit, I'd love to have a gold star. Hey, real quick,
and Rob, you're not wrong. I mean, we had that 7-9 season. We won our division because our division was trash, and then we upset New Orleans. Right? We had the Beastquake. We knocked them down in the first round. So I mean, like anything's possible once you get in the dance. But the thing is you got to win to get in, and if you lose that crucial game, well, that's on you. That would be like being in a bowl game and losing. It's like, guess what? Season's over. You didn't win. Good job. It happens.
I was real quick. I don't mean to switch subjects, but I want to talk about Juan Soto just for a second, man.
Okay.
0 for 16, 4 hitless games, 224 batting average, 8 home runs, 20-something RBIs. I don't know, 765, man. I mean, is it just me? It just seems like a huge disappointment compared to what he was, and after he got the big contract and the lack of hitting. Now I'm assuming at some point his bat will eventually, I'm assuming, heat up.
Sure.
But it just looks like, Chris Davis all over again. When he got the big contract, all of a sudden he goes down and that doesn't hit anymore. I don't think Juan Soto's going to fall in that category. But it just seems like, when I'm giving you $765 million and I'm only getting a 224 batting average, and we're, maybe 2 months away from the All-Star break. I don't know, man. Is that just the Mets? Is that just the Mets karma coming into effect on Juan?
I mean, probably some of it, but I mean, think of how many guys they sign their contract and then they're never the same. They don't have the same drive, right? You got to watch a guy do it. It was like a light switch with Zeke.
Yeah.
Dude was an absolute monster. Signs the deal.
Yeah.
Never been the same.
Absolutely. That's a good point right there. Because Zeke, when he first came in the league, I said, yeah, okay, man, this guy's going to be amazing.
He's a monster.
Nothing. Just nothing. It was like, and a lot of it was his conditioning. He did, like, you could tell he let his conditioning go a little bit. I had a couple of friends of mine that knew Zeke personally and then hung out with Zeke, and they would send me pictures of Zeke, and I'm like, damn, that dude does not look in shape at all.
Yeah, well, but that's my point, is a lot of these guys, they get paid, and then their work ethic is just not the same, right? And even guys that are, maybe their athleticism doesn't change, they become the, Antonio Browns, where their brain, it just checks out as soon as they get money. So now some of his was probably CTE, but, still, because Perfect, removed his brain from his head. But
he didn't remove it. He just turned it into mush.
Man, it was that hit was ridiculous. But I mean, the point is, you see guys go down that path a ton of times. Stephon Diggs, one of those dudes, right?
Right.
Elite athlete, gets paid. Still an elite athlete, but like the brain just isn't quite there anymore because they got all their money. And so some of them, it'll be the conditioning. Some of them, they just mentally check out. But a lot of these guys, when they sign that big deal, they're not the same player. And maybe that's playing a factor with Soto, right?
You mean you gotta wonder? I mean, for sure, is it playing a fact, right? Or is it a fact that he was batting with Judge and he was doing great with Judge because he was, maybe is it not having Judge as a security blanket? Is that exposing him a little bit to different pitches that maybe he wouldn't have seen when he was with the Yankees?
He was always good without Bryce Harper, and he was fine with the Padres when they didn't have Tatis. Like Soto's always been a good hitter. I think this year, what you're seeing from Soto at this point is he's earned the contract that he's gotten based on how he's played. He's a 26-year-old who's been a top 5 superstar since he's come into the league. He's got more walks than strikeouts since he's come into the league. He's going to give you 35 to 40 homers, 120 RBIs every year, hit above 300 every year. Like, he's earned the contract that he's gotten. I think now it's just more so the pressure of that contract and trying to live up to that contract. I think he's trying too hard. He's not letting the game come to him. I think he's trying too hard to prove that he's worth the deal that he got. When realistically, you look at the play, he's already proven that he's worth that deal. He's just got to go back to the drawing board and get the pressure off of his shoulders and just play the way that he's played his first 6 years in the league.
Yeah. No, I mean,
the manager came out and said that Juan Soto has still passed the eye test. But maybe it is. Maybe it is because $765 million. I mean, that is a big pressure to put on somebody.
He's
and not to mention, if you add the fact that you're playing in the state of New York, but that's not enough pressure as well.
Like he's not had a bad season. Like everyone is saying that he's had a bad season, which he's not had a bad season. The guy is still performing well. His average isn't good. He's hitting at 224, but he's got 8 home runs, 25 RBIs. He's still on pace to hit over 30 home runs. At some point the RBIs are going to come, so he's still on pace to be a 30-homer, 100 RBI hitter. That's the kind of production you want out of him. The average is the big concern because he's never hit under 275 for his career, so sitting at 224 is a concern. That's where I think the pressure factor falls in because he is swinging at a lot of pitches that he never used to swing at in the past because I think he's trying too hard to do the damage instead of just taking what the pitchers give to him.
Exactly. And Rob, you're right. I do think that is part of Julio's problem here in Seattle is I think he's trying too hard. I think he's pressing because he's supposed to be the phenom, right?
Right.
And so I do think that plays a little bit of a factor. So, and then of course, with the last couple of minutes here, Astros get within a half a game. Y'all won last night. We got absolutely rocked by Washington, losing 9-0. Got absolutely smoked. So,
but I'm not getting happy, Bo. I will not be happy until I see us at the top.
How you just danced 2 seconds ago.
I know. No. When I was doing this, that was me being sarcastic. What I really mean is
dancing.
This is just being sarcastic because the minute I do this, every time I see us get within a half a game or a game of you guys, and then we go out there and poop the bed, and y'all do great, and then we go back to like a game and a half down. That's just when reality hits. So
yeah, and Kirby not looking good. I mean, anytime you miss time,
it's gonna take a while.
It takes a little bit to get back. That was the Modelo dance.
Anyone who thinks that George Kirby was going to be 100% back to his old form right away has not watched baseball long enough to know that it
just Sam's Club. No Modelo.
Except that's the cover that slides over.
Is that what that was?
That being said, that does get us to the top of the hour. Thanks for playing along with us today. We will see you tomorrow. Be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our stuff to you. And, of course, if you're watching on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour. Otherwise, we are going to get up out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.